Hey, I wanted to shoot this quick video for you owners, founders, VPs of sales, presidents of companies. This is not for sales teams because I'm going to be perfectly honest, and you might not like what I have to hear, but I do want this message to ring true and ring out for VPs of sales and CEOs. My name is Bill Caskey, and I've been training and coaching business-to-business sales teams for the last 30-some years. And, you know, you observe a lot of things when you have that kind of experience. Everything that I see, I kind of catalog and take in. I've written several books about it. But I wanted to speak to you today because I think this time we're in, 2026, 2027, is a critical time for you as you look at your current sales team and say, why aren't they exhibiting the behaviors they need to exhibit in order for us to be successful? And I know if you're like most organizations, you have 20% of your team that does really well, maybe even 5% that are killers and crushers. And then you have 80%, 90% that are, it's kind of okay. Everybody's doing okay. And then you have, you know, a big percentage of those that's just not making quota and not making the numbers. And a lot of it gets down to skills. A lot of it gets down to what are you teaching your people to go to the marketplace to do so that you can generate more clients. And I know if you ask a sales team, they think everything they're doing is perfect. Yep, this is the way I do it. In the meantime, the way they did it 20 years ago and 10 years ago and a year ago doesn't work as well as it used to. But there's always this resistance to how to change. So in this video, I want to share with you 7 things that your people probably aren't telling you that they need, but they need. And if you want to talk further after this, you're welcome to book a call. I'll make sure I put my calendar in the show notes. If not, that's okay. I want these things to help you though. Okay, ready? Here we go. Let's do number 1. The sales pipeline is a mirage. Now, this has probably always been the case, but when you look at your sales pipeline for the company or individuals, it's mostly a mirage. Now, why is it a mirage? Because those people are not qualified prospects. They're just not. You will be lucky to close 40 to 50% of those that are in the pipeline, and I'm presuming they wouldn't have made it to the pipeline if there weren't some filter that they had to pass through. Their national closing percentage is 15%. And now that's global, business to business. It might be higher in your industry or in your company, but generally that's a pretty low number, 15%, if that's fact. And that's kind of where I see it to be. When a company comes to me, I'll typically will say, what are your closing percentages? And usually it's in that 10 to 20%. And a lot of times they don't even know. So I would say number one tip here is get to know what it is. Ask your team, what is it? And really make sure you know it. But most of the deals in the pipeline are not qualified. So what's the solution there? Well, the solution is teach your people how to qualify deals better. They don't make it into the pipeline unless they have a problem they're trying to solve, a destination they're trying to get to. I'm talking about the prospect here. Money to solve or money to economically devise a solution that will help them get there, and the ability to make a decision to spend the money to get to the solution. If you don't have those three or four things, I'd say 4, then you don't really have a prospect. But I'll bet you in 80% of the cases, if you look at your pipeline, you don't have that information from your clients. Number 2, they're spending way too much time not selling. Way too much time not selling. What that means is that if you look at the hours per week that a person has to work and you look at the selling time, when I'm talking about selling time, I'm talking about actually in conversation with potential customers. I bet you it's less than 10% for most of your people. Well, it can't be 100% because there are responsibilities that your people have to do. I mean, if you're having them create any content, that's time that takes away from selling. I think that's good time, but you've got to look at your sales team and say, how much time do we really spend in front of customers? So once you know that number, you want to determine how you can get more customer-facing time. Now, that may mean making cold outreach calls. That may mean connecting with clients. That may mean getting testimonials. That may mean getting referrals. That may mean going to events where you know your clients will be and just being in the game. Sitting at home watching TV at night is not in the game. You have to be. I was at an NBA game last night, and I go to enjoy the game with a friend of mine who takes me. But while I was there, I saw 2 people. One who owns the NBA team that I met, and we had a nice chit chat, and the other a past client. Well, I would not have met those people had I been sitting at home watching Netflix. So you've got to make sure your people are spending the maximum amount of time in sales mode. And by sales mode, I'm not talking about convincing and persuading and dancing and doing TikTok. I'm talking about in deep conversations with prospects. Number 3, they think it's a selling first game, and it's not. It's a marketing first game. Most of your salespeople do not understand the first lick about marketing, about how to engage people, about how to create content, about how to meet suspects or people who don't even know they have a problem, which is the world. They don't know they have a problem that you can solve. They may not have heard of you, but they definitely don't know they have a problem. So how are you going to help them understand they have a problem? That's step 1 in marketing. And your people don't understand that. And actually, to be honest with you, your marketing team probably doesn't either. Ask your marketing team what their role is, and you'll get 7 different answers if you have 7 different people on the team. Ask your sales team, hey, what do you think of marketing as a discipline? Do you feel like you're a good marketer? Describe marketing, define it. What is marketing in our world? Because every world's a little different. But most of your people have no idea what. And the problem with that is that you run to every prospect, or they do, thinking it's a qualified prospect. It's not. If there's been no marketing to it, there's no positioning, there's no the customer raising their hand and saying, hey, I want to talk to a salesperson, I want to talk to more people at the company about this problem, or I want to understand what you do. That's marketing. The ability to get the customer to raise their hand or to have them call you. I did a video about a month ago, and similar to this, different topic. And from that video, I had somebody who called me and said, hey, look, I really appreciate what you were talking about there. We're terrible at that. Can you come in and help us? And we ended up doing business quickly. Within a couple of weeks, we had a deal done, and we're starting here in the next 30 days. Now, I just gave content to help them know that they didn't know all the answers, and they realized they didn't know all the answers, and so they reached out. Your people have to understand marketing today. It's a marketing first game. It's not a selling first game. Number 4, they have no idea what their real value is. Ask each of your people, hey, give me 2 or 3 minutes on the value of our product. How do we bring value to people? First off, if you ask 10 people, you get 10 different answers. 2, it will leave you cold and uninterested. And imagine if that's a prospect asking that question. Your goal is not to leave your prospect cold and uninterested. The idea is to have them be compelled to know more. But if your people don't understand the real value they bring, and I believe that every company brings a mountain of value far beyond our ability to communicate it. And if you haven't worked on communicating it or understanding it, you can't communicate it. If you can't communicate it, what are the chances your customer pays you a premium for it? They just won't. So I want you to think about it in terms, and have your sales team think about it in terms of problem solved. What are the most common problems that this product or this product line or our solution solves? And what happens when that problem gets solved? What is the destination the customer can go down and pursue that they couldn't as long as they still have this problem? And 3, what are the economics of solving this problem? I've got a client who I just brought on here a couple months ago, and they're really struggling to close sales, and they're in a very complex business. And what it turned out to be a very simple problem. And the simple problem is they were unable to communicate the value of what happens once the customer bought. The customer didn't know what was going to happen. And so what we had them do is create a roadmap that basically had them say somewhere near the end of the sales cycle, look, if you decide you want to work with us and we decide we want to work with you, if everything matches up and it's a good fit, here's what it looks like to work with us. Here's what the first 90, 120 days looks like. So that way, the value that you bring is not just in the solving of the problem, it's the process you go through to solve the problem. If they don't know what that process is, what makes you think they're going to just blindly follow you? They won't. So understand your value, the problems you solve, the destination, the economics, and also the roadmap. Number 5, your people are using 2016 strategies in a 2026 market. They're using the playbook of yesterday. They're not building their audience. They're not on digital platforms. They're not doing podcasts. They're not doing YouTube video channels or videos. They're not shooting videos for LinkedIn. They're not writing compelling content that helps someone realize that you have a solution to their problem. They're not doing any of that. They're either A, relying on their marketing department to do it, and the marketing department's not doing it, or if they're doing it through the marketing jargon. That's not, your prospects don't want to hear marketing jargon. I got news for you. They want to hear from you. They want to hear from the people who are the closest to solving the problem, and that's typically the salesperson or the engineer, if you have technical engineers, implementation engineers, that type of thing. They want to hear from them. There's too much noise in the marketplace, and with AI, with all the AI slop, I've heard it called, I agree with that, that's out there, your messaging is going to have to be really good, because there'll be a lot of messages that are just average AI messages. You have to be really good at your message, and the way to be really good at your message, I got a secret here, is be personal with it. Be personal with it. Say, look, I want to help you. I started this video by saying, look, I want this to be of help. If you decide you don't want to talk to me, that's fine. That's cool. I can't talk to everybody, but I want you to have a message that's personal. And I want you to use a playbook that is for today. And that is, have your people create audiences and sub-audiences, mini audiences, understand marketing, put out content, and you'll be surprised at how many opportunities you have. Number 6, their success that they have is based on labor, not leverage. You know what leverage is. In fact, you having a sales team is leverage. You don't have to do it all yourself. You have people who are out there working for you, slaying dragons and getting up early and staying late and doing the things. So if you have 10, 12, 15, 100 salespeople, you have a lot of leverage. They're getting your goals done by they're getting what they want to accomplish. They want to earn income. Everybody wins. But what about them? Are they using leverage? I bet they're not. I bet they see everything that they do through the lens of labor, not through the lens of leverage. And think about what leverage is. Leverage is the act of modestly changing the inputs to massively change the outputs. Remember, Archimedes said, if you give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, I can move the world. And leverage is the tweaking of small things. Here's a good example. When your people are out making a call, having a conversation with people, do they know how to conduct themselves in that conversation? I know you'll say, yeah, my people have been doing it for 20 years. I got news for you. I've listened to conversations of salespeople who have been doing this thing for 20 years, and it's awful. It's awful. I'm not saying your people are awful. Generally, it's way off. So if you can make minor tweaks, just minor tweaks, to the conversation you're having with suspects or prospects, whether it's on the phone, on Teams, Google, Zoom, or in the face-to-face world, you will leverage that time. You're spending the time there anyway. You're spending an hour, 2 hours, whatever, travel time, 4 hours, 10 hours, you're traveling across the country. Why not optimize it? Why not optimize that meeting? And most meetings, sub-optimized. Trust me, I've listened to them. I have some of my clients record when it's okay with the customer. I hear a lot of Zoom calls, especially for people that I just start working with. And I got to tell you, they're awful. They're awful. It's not that the people are bad. It's just they've never been taught modern communication strategies. So one way to leverage is to use the time that you're in front of prospects better. Now, there's a lot of other ways to leverage, but just to think about the things that you're doing anyway. How do I optimize those things? How do I optimize them? And then how do you leverage some of your frameworks and some of your problem solving? How do you leverage your client database, your client success stories? There's so much. You could 2 to 5x your business just by leveraging what you already have, without learning any more sales skills, without bringing sales trainers and coaches in and creating all these magic. Just leverage what you have. And the number 7 thing is they're not positioning themselves as guides. They're positioning themselves as salespeople. There's nothing that will create a race to the bottom quicker than your people being positioned as salespeople. Now, I'm not saying sales is a dirty word or you should stay away from the word. I'm saying let's redefine what it even means. A great salesperson in 2026, 2027, 2028 is a person who can understand the customer's dilemma that they're in, maybe even better than they understand it, can understand where the customer's destination, objective, vision, dream, goal, where they want to get, and build a plan or a roadmap to help them get there. And then walk with them along that roadmap, or have your company. I know, if you're in a company where you turn it over to another department once the sale's made, those people need to be guides. They need to understand guiding. Guiding is not yanking. Guiding is not pulling. Guiding is not coercive. Guiding is where you understand where they're starting from, understand where they're going, understand their mindset and some of their preferences, and building a plan to help them get there. If you do that and you can communicate that, you're going to win 50% of the business, because most people are bad at that. So hopefully this has helped you today. I wanted to give you a half dozen or so things. Some of these might apply to you, some won't. You may listen to this and say, Bill, so long, man. We're good. We're good the way we are. Don't need any help. But I also know that 20% of you know you need this. You know you need some improvement in these areas. I'm happy to talk with you. I'll put my calendar in the show notes. And there's also a lot of other stuff to listen to at BillCaskey.com. If you're a little nervous about talking to me, that's fine. Go listen to some more stuff. I got stuff everywhere. 2,000 podcasts, 400 videos. I give a lot of stuff away. Look forward to talking with you. See you next time. Bye.